So let's go ahead and import the effects. This may have been a mistake. Alright, so we got all this imported, so let's go check out our flipbooks. And we're looking to make sure that they have the correct materials, which it looks like they do. Let's just double check. Yeah, they're looking good. Using the wrong fan headers. Weren't displaying the RPMs. You're like, oh god, are they even running? That's like when you crack it open and like I've got two 980 GTX Ti's in mine, and the fans on the graphics cards don't always run, right? Like they're powerful enough that during like normal not doing anything times, the fans just aren't even on. So you look in there and you're like, is it gonna turn on? Like, or is it just gonna heat up and explode? Yeah, so it's one of those where you're like, I don't know if anything's wrong or not, if something goes wrong. Alright, so we're gonna import something for Fatsack here. We're gonna import his role, I think is what we did. So let's go ahead and import that role. Or why don't we just import the whole damn thing? Let's disconnect from source control real quick, and we'll do a full export of him and an import, because I think I've got my sync all synced up. Well, I don't know if I have it all synced up. Let's take a look at the art folder. It should be, but yeah, Adam probably didn't turn his stuff back on, did he? Alright, well let's just do the one then. We'll connect back to source control. So let's do a character import on Fatsack. Alright, so that was pretty quick. So let's see if his flipbook actually has the right stuff. It looked like Dashkin masked lit spray. As you can see, he's got the lighting on him, and it looks correct. Cool. The audio's good? Awesome. You need audio. So, why don't we save everything and exit. Sometimes it doesn't actually save. It can be kind of annoying. Alright, so we actually are this is masked lit sprite. Well, why don't we change these to our masked, let's change it to our object materials. This will be translucent object. What was it before? It was masked lit, and we made it translucent. We'll change it to masked. Looks about right. Let's see what the difference between these two are. Like, it's still got the texture coordinates and vertex coordinates in there properly, so I guess it's using a floor model, so the floor, yeah, is gonna do what it does. And I should actually grab this template floor mesh. And this is inside of geometry meshes? Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to worry too much about it. But let's at least make sure we're using the right object materials. Yeah, let's use our masked objects for everything. Let's see, we're going to want the cube materials to be changed with the opaque object. Yeah, it's looking about right. Now the question is this actor correct? This entity actor that is Bitey. Let's take a look at his flipbook. He's got Dashkin masked lit sprite, which is correct, so that's controlled by the flipbook material itself. Cast shadows is set to true. Alright. What about the little fat sack dude? What's he got? He's got cast shadows is true. He's got masked unlit sprite material. That's probably because his flipbook is not set up properly for fat sack. So why don't we go to fat sack and just set up his materials. We want all the flipbooks for fat sack. And let's go through them real quick and set up their materials. And we should be using the masked lit sprite for everything. I like how he's got this little tiny thing coming out of his origin now. So we'll check everything out, save it. And let's play and check out what these guys actually got going on for him. It's hard for me to tell if that's actually playing properly. So let's see. The entity actor for Fat Sack is got the masked lit sprite material. The flipbook looks correct. This is for Bitey. He's doing his breathing animation. That looks correct as well. Alright. So we'll just save this thing real quick. And let's rebuild the lighting and make sure all that's working. Plan is kind of met, at least for Chrome. I'm not sure what you mean with what, your internet's not super great, or what? I wonder if we're going to have to do something with some of these like objects like this, if it would be better to, instead of having this be, you know, like a kind of a box, you know, just like two sprites like this, would it be better to just actually have a box, you know, a piece of geometry here that is this, and throw an actual top on it and stuff like that, and you'll make it pretty simple, but I wonder if we should be looking into doing some stuff like that. So let's make sure this all plays properly and we're in the right shadows. Yeah, the shadows are being cast from the box above us. Looking good. Yeah, that looks correct to me. Because we want stuff like this rock or whatever should be casting a light, you know, casting a shadow. Let's take a look. When we're spawning those effects, let's take a look. If I pause it, the effect actor for this thing has got a spark flipbook, which is using the translucent unlit sprite material. You know, looks pretty good for all that. So yeah, I think that's probably absolutely correct. Let's see where this thing is though. It is at 48. Let's change where we're spawning that effect real quick. So it's at 48. And then 500. Let's set it at 400. Is that behind it? So maybe it needs to be at negative 400. Yeah, I'm just double checking that the translucency is working properly, and it looks like it is. So that's pretty cool. why don't we do something interesting real quick? Let's actually test out our lighting a little bit. Let's make an effect that we've got here. Like, we've got the explosion for the effects and all that stuff, but we can actually just get rid of all these effects here that are, these are all just trash. We need to get rid of everything that's not explogs. Pretty sure, at least. Yeah, because we already have all these. They're like right in there. So we should actually delete all of this stuff. That's kind of what we're doing today, is we're cleaning stuff up, moving stuff around like it should be. And you got to do that from time to time, otherwise you just end up with crap everywhere in your project and you're wondering where it all went wrong. Even with just 2 people, you just start accumulating garbage immediately. So let's see, player, logic object, energy channel is using these things. Where was it? It's Batsec Wander. Test effect actor. Log tunnel. Where is it? Like, we can just get rid of these. Oh, it's probably this. So we want the game effect explosions. It's wrong. It's all wrong. What? What's wrong? Your computer setup? Are you gonna have to do it all over again? We've got our test contents, and I need to replace this with replace it with that. And this guy as well needs to be replaced. Ball spawn and ball spawn and barrel explosion. This isn't game effects explosions, game effects explosions, game effects explodes. What's happening, Sonic Run? Where are we? Everything's wrong. Why? Alright, so I think we should be able to start deleting some of these things then. Cool. And what I want to do is I want to actually upgrade that explosion thing to have a light on it. And yeah, even just cleaning up just some basic stuff can take a little while because you need to update all the references, and all the random crap can be pretty annoying. So what is this? Assets referencing it. Spark flipbook. I could totally change this. Yeah, it's like, it was wrong. It was saying, oh, you're using this. It'd be like, I just changed that asset and we're not. It's like, well, you hadn't compiled the blueprint, so it was still using it. Oh, come on. Who's using this? Nobody's using this damn thing. I'm just gonna force delete this crap. Like, nobody is using these damned things. Like, come on, Unreal. You got it wrong. Yeah, and the player logic object is not broken. It's fine. So yeah, Unreal, you were wrong. This thing can't delete the folder. It can't delete the folder. It can't get rid of it. It's just failing because it can't do something. So we're just going to exit the editor and reopen it and see if that fixes the editor having problems deleting folders. Unreal can be a little frustrating at times when it magically fails at tasks. Because a lot of the time the editor won't crash or do anything or even tell you that the thing that you just wanted it to do, it just failed to do. It'll just silently ignore it. It'll be like, oh yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, so it can't do it. You can't delete because there's assets in here that it has not actually deleted. So we're gonna delete that folder and then go over to Perforce and make sure to reconcile the content. Yeah, so Unreal totally screwed up when it was trying to deal with this and did not actually delete what should be deleted. It failed. Alright, so our effects are set up once again. So we're going to go to our test content real quick, and I'd like to make an effect which has a point light on it. So how do we do that? Do we just like grab a light here? Just like throw a point light in here? Just call it point light. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We'll just make it super ridiculous in terms of its lighting. Like, let's take a look at our light here. This point light here has got it doesn't have the same, I guess it's not organized in the same fashion. Like, intensity is, oh, this is just really weird. Let's see, we'll use 1000 for this, and the intensity we're going to set to something really big. We're going to set the light color to red. Effect swirl, cast shadows, use dynamic shadows. Cast translucent shadows. Is there cast, trying to look, because we have cast translucent shadows. Yeah, there it is. Alright. Alright, why don't we compile this and save it. And then what we should be able to do is make like one of these. And if we take this point light and make its attenuation radius like 100, Oh man, I got stuck behind the world. I hate it when it does this. Guess it's because it's translucent. Is it lit? Is that what's going on here? This energy channel, the energy buildup is using translucent unlit. Is it just that there's no real background for it to look at, so it just looks all bleh? Yeah, it looks like if there was a background object behind it, we might be able to see what it looks like. Let's just make sure it's set to no collision. Where is collision on this thing? Yeah, so we can throw lights and stuff on effects, and it does work. So let's open up that. Let's see, what do we have for lighting in the world at the moment? We've got this skylight. We've got a directional light, which is lighting pretty much everything. What's the skylight got? The light source. Wish it was easier to tell where all the lighting was really coming from. Let's turn that down. Is there intensity that we can do for this? Yeah, let's just do like 0.25. And then the directional light. It's a really weird effect. Like, I guess the lighting needs to be rebuilt. That's why everything's all sorts of messed up. So let's try rebuilding. It's so weird what is going on with this texture. I guess it's just because it's so stretched and screwed up that it's just going to have incredibly odd lighting. Is this the material for the floor, the landscape material? It is default lit. Let's use our Dashkin opaque object. And for all the backgrounds, let's make sure that we have the Dashkin masked lit sprite. This lighting is interesting. Like I'm not seeing this do what I would expect it to do with the lighting on some of these objects. There's sun. How does the sun stuff work? really don't know. Oh god, you make the sun super bright. Now where is this effect in relation to the sprite? This is at 0, so if we put this like here, then it looks like he's getting lit. If we put it behind him, does it have the same effect? No, it does not. So if we want lights, to actually affect things, we have to make sure that they're, in front of them, which makes sense. That's what you would expect. Alright, cool. Let's take a look at the test content again. I'd like to make an explosion test content thing. So why don't we duplicate this and call it test explosion. And what I want to do is I want to basically get rid of that. I want to use an explosion from in here, like this one. Let's see, the barrel explosion is unlit, which is what it should be. We want the light color to be like white, maybe like 500. Cast translucent shadows. And let's go to the event graph, and on begin play, we actually want to do stuff. We want to do play SFX. So we want to play the SFX on this thing, and we also want to add the kill component to it. And the kill on anim finished inside of begin play binds to the animation end event on the Dashkin animation controller component. So we need an animation controller component. the animation controller should exist, and we'll grab the flipbook off of this thing, and supposedly if we create this thing, it will have a light, it'll play a sound, and it'll destroy itself when the animation's finished. How do we set the duration of this thing? So for a normal, like, on our player at the moment, when we spawn this explosion, we're just calling create simple animated effect. So let's see exactly what this does. We're going to spawn the actor, create an animation controller component. Not exactly what we want. Let's see, is there a better way to do this? Create effect by class, create effect by name. Play animation with duration. Well, this will just play it. It's not super great. So what we'd have to do is on play of the animation controller. I guess we gotta call initialize. What does initialize even do on the animation controller component? What it just calls find component by class with the flipbook, does all this. I think what we want to do is we want to have a begin play event on this thing that gets called, and it's like if you're initialized, then it'll automatically do all that. So we want to call like animation controller like play with duration. Dashkin entity animation controller component. That's not true. Let's see, what is it? It's play animation, right? There's no like flipbook on the flipbook component? Yeah, there's source flipbook. Is there no actual way to get the flipbook? Get sprite material. There's get flipbook and it's on sprite. Oh, that's just obnoxious. Target is a paper flipbook component. Yeah, like, that's pretty ugly. Alright, so play animation with duration on this thing. Let's take a look at the animation controller component. Like, we're passing it a paper flipbook. If we have the animation controller component, what does the rebuild function actually do? We bind all of our stuff to it. Okay, well, I think what we need to do is we need to change this. And what we want to do is we want to call play effect. I want to call it create effect. Create effect by class, I believe, is the correct one. And yeah, that should just spawn the correct class in the right spot. And it should be test explosion, so it should be so that should just create the effect that we want. Bind event to animation. Where is this on the? This is begin play. It'll do this sort of stuff. All right. Can we change the order of these elements through a component? Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I need to do for the animation controller component here with the initialize, rebuilding things. Like, I basically want this stuff to be called as soon as possible. But begin play for this thing, I guess these animation controllers will be attached to everything else, so maybe I should just expose the initialize on this thing and just deal with it that way to start with. And this is where it kind of the blueprint stuff that I've been messing with has been pretty new to me, so I haven't had everything set up properly. So a lot of little things. And I've been pretty much distracted for the last hour. I'm basically just making an explosion that has a light source on it. And is kind of self-contained. And I don't know why I wanted to do it, I just kind of do. Yeah.